They laughed at you. They said digital assets were noise. They said the global financial system was untouchable. They said nothing would ever really change. They looked at the people paying attention, the ones watching, learning, waiting, and they called them dreamers. Good. Because dreamers built every system the world now depends on. And right now, while the crowd is still laughing, something is being constructed that will reshape the way money moves across this entire planet. Not someday, not eventually, now. A brand new academic paper, published in 2026, has just outlined the framework for what it calls Bretton Woods 2.0, a new hybrid international monetary system designed for a world that has outgrown the old rules. And inside that paper, named explicitly, named specifically, with no ambiguity whatsoever, is XRP, alongside Bitcoin. Identified as market-emergent instruments, identified as organic candidates for reserve and settlement functions in the next chapter of global finance. Not implied, not suggested, named. This is not a social media post. This is not someone's theory on a forum. This is a published academic paper drawing the map of tomorrow's financial world, and XRP is on that map by name. The foundation is already being laid. Most people just haven't looked down yet. Every shift that changed the world began with a signal that most people missed. Fed Governor Waller recently spoke about something that deserves far more attention than it received. He described how dollar-backed stablecoins may create an entirely new channel, direct, digital, and powerful, linking global liquidity demand straight into U.S. Treasury markets, the deepest, most consequential financial market on Earth, and the pathway running through blockchain rails. Now hold that image, because something is already moving through those rails right now. Ondo Finance, operating on the XRP Ledger alongside BlackRock's BUIDL, has been tokenizing U.S. Treasuries, settling them outside banking hours, across borders, across time zones, alongside JP Morgan and Mastercard. Real instruments, real settlement, not a concept paper, not a future roadmap, happening today on the XRP Ledger, while most people are still asking whether any of this is real. When Governor Waller describes a new channel connecting global liquidity to treasuries, this is what that channel looks like in practice. On-chain, operational, already moving. Patience builds what urgency destroys. The people who win in moments like this are never the loudest ones in the room. They are the ones who understood the direction before the destination became obvious. And the most important economic voice in Washington right now has been pointing at that destination publicly, clearly, for anyone willing to listen. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessant has stated plainly that the world is heading toward a grand global economic reordering, something equivalent in scale to a new Bretton Woods, a reset of the architecture that governs how nations store value, settle trade, and relate to one another financially. He didn't say it was possible. He said there is a very good chance. He said he wants to be part of it. He said he has studied it for years and considers it one of his unique skills. A man who spent decades understanding how currencies rise and fall, now leading the U.S. Treasury, and publicly signaling that a monetary reset is coming. That is not speculation. That is preparation happening in plain sight. And the friction he wants to eliminate? Over $27 trillion locked and frozen in nostro vostro accounts around the globe. Capital that moves slowly. Capital that costs more than it should. Capital that serves the system rather than the people who need it. Friction is the enemy. Speed is the solution. And XRP was designed to be the fastest bridge between the two. The academic paper itself is worth understanding carefully. Its title, International Monetary Fragmentation and Digitalization, Outlines of a Looming Bretton Woods 2.0. Its core argument, the international monetary system is facing two forces simultaneously, accelerating digitalization and deepening geopolitical multipolarity. Both are irreversible. Both are already in motion, and if left unmanaged, they risk splitting the global financial system into competing, incompatible pieces. Nations building walls where there should be bridges. History has seen this pattern before. The gold standard emerged organically. Bretton Woods was assembled from necessity. SWIFT became the default not because governments designed it that way, but because markets chose it. Every great settlement system in history arose because the old one could no longer carry the weight of the world it was asked to serve. Today, the paper argues, Bitcoin and XRP are following that same path, not designed by governments, not mandated by central banks, chosen by markets, tested by volume, proven by adoption. The paper calls it arising organically from marketplace adoption and technological evolution. That sentence matters more than it sounds. It means these assets earned their place. No one handed it to them. And the paper isn't telling policymakers what to do. It's warning them to prepare before a crisis makes the decision for them, before fragmentation becomes the default, before the window for an orderly transition closes. The dollar has survived everything thrown at it: oil shocks, sovereign debt crises, the collapse of 2008. Every time the world shook, capital ran toward the dollar because there was nowhere else to go. But the British pound survived empire. It survived 2 centuries of global dominance. And then it didn't. Slowly. Then suddenly. The dollar isn't collapsing, but the system built around it is straining under the weight of a world it was never designed to carry. The answer is not abandonment. The answer is evolution. Digitize the dollar. Accelerate settlement. Reduce the friction that costs the global economy trillions every single year. The faster value moves, the less capital you need to keep frozen as collateral. That is not philosophy. That is engineering. China is not waiting for the world to figure this out. Their cross-border interbank payment system, CIPS, is live and operational. Their digital yuan is moving. The mBridge project connecting China, Thailand, Hong Kong, and the UAE through central bank digital currencies is already proving that cross-border payments can bypass dollar-dependent infrastructure entirely. Not through conflict, through architecture. And that is the real pressure. Not armies, not sanctions, rails. Quietly built, quietly adopted, quietly eroding the dollar's role in global transactions, one settlement at a time. This is exactly why a neutral bridge matters so much. When a digital dollar, a digital yuan, a digital pound, and a digital real all exist, they won't automatically speak to each other. They will need something in the middle, something with no national allegiance, something that converts, settles, and moves on without picking sides. The BIS has described this exact model, a multi-CBDC framework built around a neutral bridge asset, XRP in the center, not replacing currencies, connecting them. The paper's own summary of XRP's potential role is striking in how practical it sounds. It enables efficient multipolar trade. It acts as a neutral bridge between CBDCs that don't interoperate. It reduces pre-funding capital requirements. It accelerates and reduces the cost of global remittances. It complements rather than competes with central bank digital currencies. It supports systemic resilience and helps prevent disorderly fragmentation. And the paper does not frame this as potential. It frames XRP as one of the strongest existing real-world examples of a digital asset already solving practical cross-border problems. Already. Present tense. This moment, not some future one. In 2017, Ripple's own website stated their commitment to making XRP the world's reserve digital currency. Brad Garlinghouse, on a stage in Korea, explained that XRP was created with 100 billion units precisely because its creators envisioned it functioning as a global reserve, vast, liquid, and available at the scale the world would eventually require. That vision didn't come from outside commentators. It came from the people who built it. And every year since, every infrastructure partnership, every policy speech, every academic paper, every central bank conversation has added another layer to the same foundation. One more fact worth holding on to. The U.S. Senate and House have agreed on legislation banning a U.S. central bank digital currency, but only until 2030, not forever. Until 2030. Windows don't open by accident. Dates don't get chosen randomly. When builders leave a door open at a specific time, they are expecting something to walk through it. The papers are being written, the speeches are being given, the rails are being built. One decision at a time, one partnership at a time, one settlement at a time. The people who recognize historic moments before they become headlines are never the ones who needed the crowd's permission to believe. They are the ones who looked at what was being built, while everyone else was still laughing at the blueprints. One day this will be called obvious. People will say they always knew. They will forget the years of doubt, the noise, the criticism. But you will remember, because you were here before the building was finished, when it still looked like a foundation, and most people couldn't see what it was becoming. This is not financial advice. This is perspective. on what is being built, what is being said publicly, and what it may mean for the world taking shape around us. If any part of this resonated, if you felt even a fraction of the weight of this moment, then stay. Like this video, subscribe, leave a comment. Not for an algorithm, because this conversation is worth having, and the more people in it, the clearer the picture becomes for everyone. History is being written right now. Make sure you were paying attention while the ink was still wet.